This is the story of Kenasiabowie, a 24-year-old woman whose life was taken away just 12 hours after she shared a personal complaint on social media. It all started with a comment about her weight, something many can relate to. But what followed was something that shocked everyone. How did a simple post lead to a life being lost? This is the tragic story of Kenasiabowie. On January 29, 2025, in Jackson, Mississippi, Kenasiabowie was shot and killed by her partner, Michaela Davis, just hours after Kenasia posted about her struggles with body image on social media. What would drive someone to take such extreme action? What was behind the violence that followed that online post? Let's take a closer look at what led to this heartbreaking event. Kenasia Annie Bowie was born on February 19, 2000. From a young age, she was known for her warmth, kindness, and determination. Despite the challenges she faced because of her body size, Kenasia never let it define her. She was the type of person who always found a way to enjoy life, surrounded by the people she loved. Her friends and family remember her for her laughter and the way she made others feel special. Kenasia worked hard in everything she did. She was a dedicated student and a loyal friend, always putting others first. Beyond that, she had a soft spot for animals, a trait that only added to her caring nature. Even though the world may not always have been kind to her because of her size, Kenasia always believed in herself and never gave up on the things that mattered to her. She wanted to succeed and make a difference. Kenasia's heart was open to the world, always striving to bring joy and positivity wherever she went. Michaela Davis, on the other hand, had a much different past. At 25 years old, Michaela was known for her troubling behavior. Her history was filled with violence, gang associations, and an unsettling presence on social media. Michaela's posts often spoke of aggression and hostility. She didn't shy away from making threats and often boasted about her tough, reckless lifestyle. For those who knew her, Michaela was considered a walking warning sign. Her history of toxic relationships, erratic behavior, and troubling online presence gave people plenty of reasons to be concerned. But when Michaela met Kenasia, something changed. On the surface, Michaela seemed sweet, caring, and even affectionate. She appeared to be the type of person who could offer love and stability. But beneath the surface, there was much more to Michaela than met the eye. Slowly, her true colors began to show, and it became clear that the relationship between Michaela and Kenasia would not be as simple as it seemed at first. Despite Michaela's troubled past, Kenasia chose to be with her. Whether it was love or the hope that Michaela would change, Kenasia believed in the good she saw. It wasn't unusual for people to want to help others, especially those they care about. Kenasia might have thought that with time, Michaela's past would stay behind her. For a while, it seemed like a relationship full of potential. Michaela was charming at first, and Kenasia was drawn to her. But as time went on, the early signs of trouble began to appear. Michaela started showing flashes of the same aggression she was known for. Her comments and behaviors grew more erratic, and Kenasia began to feel the strain. The love she thought she had could not overpower the toxic traits Michaela had yet to leave behind. The relationship, once full of hope, began to crumble, and Kenasia found herself trapped in something much darker than she had ever imagined. At first, Kenasia tried to ignore the signs. She believed Michaela when she would apologize after a hurtful comment. But the truth was, Michaela's behavior was slowly chipping away at Kenasia's confidence. It started with small remarks about her weight, things that seemed like casual complaints at first, but they slowly became more frequent and more cruel. Michaela would comment on Kenasia's body, telling her she was getting too big. Kenasia, hurt by these words, would try to brush them off, telling herself it would get better. But deep down, she could feel the pressure building. Michaela's criticisms became sharper, and Kenasia began to doubt herself. She had always been a strong person, but these constant remarks were beginning to wear her down. Still, she tried to hold on to the relationship, convincing herself that things would improve with time. But the more Michaela criticized her, the harder it became to believe that this relationship could work. As the months went on, the private insults turned into public humiliation. Michaela took to social media, posting about Kenasia in ways that were meant to hurt. What was once a personal issue between the two of them became a spectacle for everyone to see. Michaela began making demeaning comments about Kenasia's body, specifically targeting her size. One post read, "Y'all be talking about fat folks, but then they get to doing skinny people things. I'm not putting up with no extra weight." Another one said, "From now on, you can't be bigger than me, and I'm barely 135 pounds. Michaela didn't just criticize Kenasia in private anymore, she made sure to broadcast her opinions to the world. Kenasia tried to respond, defending herself, but the damage had already been done. The public shame was too much to bear. It was clear that Michaela wasn't just unhappy with Kenasia's weight, she was angry and bitter. As much as Kenasia wanted to ignore it, she could feel the weight of these comments pulling her down. This was the moment Kenasia started to see things for what they were. This relationship was toxic, and no matter how hard she tried to make it work, it seemed like it was only going to get worse. Eventually, Kenasia couldn't take it anymore. After all the online drama and constant insults, she knew that it was time to walk away. She had tried everything to make the relationship work, but Michaela's behavior showed no signs of changing. Kenasia finally decided to break up with her. It wasn't an easy decision. Kenasia cared about Michaela, but she couldn't keep sacrificing her own happiness and self-esteem for someone who continually tore her down. But what Kenasia didn't realize was that Michaela wouldn't just let her go. Michaela didn't take rejection well, especially from someone she had been tormenting. Michaela began to stalk Kenasia, refusing to accept the breakup. She would show up at Kenasia's house, send constant messages, and make threats. Kenasia, feeling trapped, just wanted to be free of the emotional abuse. But Michaela wasn't ready to let go. The cycle of abuse had gone on long enough, and Kenasia made it clear that she was done. But for Michaela, this wasn't the end. The torment was only beginning, and soon, it would escalate in a way no one could have predicted. On January 28, 2025, Kenasia reached a breaking point. After months of cruel comments about her weight, she decided to share her struggles on social media. She posted about the constant body shaming she had been facing, the hurtful words that were tearing her down. It was a bold move, a cry for understanding and support. But what Kenasia didn't know was that this post would set off something much worse. Just hours later, Michaela saw the post and her anger boiled over. Michaela wasn't just upset, she was furious that Kenasia had the nerve to speak out about the way she had been treated. This simple post, meant to express pain, would become the spark that lit the fire of a tragic ending. Furious at Kenasia's public display of defiance, Michaela couldn't handle the thought of Kenasia speaking up. She didn't want anyone to think that Kenasia was standing up for herself. Michaela decided that she would put an end to it. The next few hours were filled with rage. Michaela began stalking Kenasia, keeping a close eye on her, looking for any chance to confront her. Michaela wasn't about to let Kenasia get away with this, she was determined to make sure Kenasia knew who was in control. When Michaela found Kenasia, her anger took over. Michaela approached her, and in an instant, she made a decision that would change everything. With a gun in her hand, she acted without hesitation. What followed was a cold, calculated act of violence. Michaela shot Kenasia, and within moments, her life was taken. It was around 1 a.m. on January 29, 2025, when Michaela shot Kenasia. The sound of gunfire echoed through the night, ending Kenasia's life in an instant. The police were called to the scene not long after, responding to the shots fired. By the time they arrived, Kenasia was already gone. The bright young woman who had been full of life just hours before was now dead. Michaela was arrested at the scene, her rage leading her to a point of no return. She was charged with murder, but for Kenasia's family and friends, the damage had already been done. A life was taken, and no amount of justice could bring her back. When Kenasia was taken from them, her family and friends were left heartbroken. Kenasia wasn't just a daughter, sister, or friend, she was someone who always made others feel loved and supported. She was kind-hearted, always willing to help, and always there for those she cared about. Her family described her as a soul who never hesitated to bring warmth and joy to any room she entered. Losing her left a void that nothing could fill. For those who knew her best, the pain of her death was unbearable. Her family grieved the loss of a young woman who had so much potential and so much love to give. Their world was turned upside down, and no words could heal the wound that had been left in their hearts. Michaela Davis was arrested at the scene and charged with murder. The law would now take its course, but for Kenasia's loved ones, no legal action could undo the tragedy that had unfolded. Michaela's actions had caused irreparable damage, and no sentence could bring Kenasia back. The pain of losing someone they loved so deeply was something they would carry with them for the rest of their lives. Justice, in the eyes of Kenasia's family, wouldn't undo the harm that had been done. The loss they faced would stay with them forever, no matter what happened in the courtroom. This tragic story serves as a powerful reminder of how toxic relationships can quickly spiral out of control. What might seem like small problems at first can lead to much bigger issues, even violence. It's a warning to all of us about the dangers of body shaming. No one should feel unsafe because of the way they look or because of someone else's words. Everyone deserves to feel respected, loved, and valued for who they are. Let Kenasia's story be a call for us to stand up against these harmful behaviors and to treat one another with kindness and understanding. No one should ever feel that their life is at risk because of how they look. If you or someone you know is experiencing abuse, don't wait, reach out to someone you trust or call a helpline. Your safety matters, and there are people who can help. No one deserves to feel trapped or unsafe. Take that step to protect yourself, because your life truly matters. Don't let fear hold you back, there is support available, and there's always someone willing to listen. Kenasia's story is one of heartbreak, but it's also a story of lessons we can learn from. It reminds us of how important it is to show kindness and understanding to those around us. Let's be more mindful of how we treat others, especially in relationships. Abuse, in any form, is never acceptable, and we must all take a stand against it. We owe it to Kenasia's memory to work towards a world where love and respect are the foundation of every relationship. Let's choose kindness and speak out against all forms of abuse. If this story touched you, please like, share, and subscribe so that more important stories like this can be heard. Stay safe, stay strong, and always take care of each other. Together, we can make a difference. Thank you for watching.